Hey everyone, welcome to Kid Talk. Today we have Courtney German with us, who's going to tell us a little bit about what students with learning and behavioral difficulties experience. How are you, Courtney?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty good. So tell us about the written language difficulties these students may experience.
Well, written language difficulties are kind of a really broad spectrum. They deal with handwriting issues, spelling issues, and written expression issues in general. A lot of these are caused by a lack of fine motor coordination, so they can't really get their fingers to hold the pencil right or bend correctly to form the letters. Also, they might have a failure to pay attention or finish a task because they're unable to perceive or remember visual images. So they don't see the letters the same way that everyone else sees them. And this obviously makes handwriting difficult because if you can't see the letters correctly, how can you write them correctly? So their handwriting is usually less advanced than their peers.
That could make things difficult in school. You also mentioned spelling, I believe. Tell us about that.
I did. In addition to obvious handwriting issues such as like maybe their words are too small or too big or they slant funny or they're super dark, their writing is super dark, like almost as if they're writing in bold, or they have problems writing in straight lines or spacing their letters. Students with written disabilities have issues with spelling because there are three ways to learn to spell a word. You can spell it phonetically, so you sound it out. So cat. C makes the k sound, A makes the a sound, and T makes the t sound. And so when you put those things together, you have cat, and it makes sense. Also, we have words that we form with certain linguistic rules. So maybe the word babies, you drop the Y and add IES to make it plural, and that's the way that rule generally works. But then we also have irregular words, such as said, that you can't really sound out and you can't use linguistic rules because they're not the same. They don't fit right. And you just have to kind of memorize and know that the words look right when you have to learn these irregular words. And if students are not seeing the words correctly, they have a visual issue recognizing images, and that makes it more difficult for them to learn these types of words.
So if students are having difficulties with spelling and writing the physical writing process, what does that do with trying to express any information with writing?
Right. Well, say you have a student that has a written language disability. So they have poor handwriting and they have difficulty spelling. And sometimes students with this issue even have trouble thinking about the process of writing because they're so anxious about the mechanics of it that they get hung up on that and they can't focus on how to plan what they want to say. So you give a student a writing prompt and they don't know which words to use. They don't know how to use them in the correct order in sentences as far as verbs and subjects go. And so they might use very simple wording, very simple sentence structures, and they might be very repetitious in the words that they do choose to use. Or they might have a really hard time starting on their writing prompts because they can't figure out how they want to order their thoughts because they're so hung up on the issues they have with written expression in general.
All right. Well, that's some very interesting ideas. Do you mind if we take a phone call and see if anyone in the audience has a question for you?
No, of course.
All right. Ring, 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 ring. Hello, you're on Kid Talk.
Hi, I just wanted to call in and ask a question. My son is 7 years old and he is in the second grade, and he has very bad handwriting and he doesn't always put spacing between his words. And when he writes, his words kind of slant and go off the page. And he also has trouble with spelling. He always gets his B's and D's mixed up, and he does not use punctuation or capitalized letters at the beginning of a sentence.
Okay, first I want to encourage you not to panic. A lot of times we mistake a child's natural stages of learning handwriting and learning to write for the first time as them having a language disability, whereas maybe they're just naturally taking a little longer to understand things than their classmates, and that's fine. What I would encourage you to do is to maybe have a parent-teacher conference with your child's teacher and maybe even include the special education teacher. But again, I would encourage you to not panic immediately because a lot of students naturally have messy handwriting and difficulty spacing, and they, like you said, will switch their B's and their D's when they're first learning to write. So it's something that you probably want to monitor, but you don't necessarily need to address right now.
Okay, thank you for your time.
All right, we're going to have a quick word from our sponsors, and then Courtney is going to talk to us about our math skills with learning disabilities. Thank you.